Right, hello there and welcome back to the channel. I'm absolutely delighted you've decided to spend a bit of your time with me today. Now, I know what you're thinking, another self-improvement guru promising you the world with yet another complicated system that requires you to wake up at 4 a.m., drink some bizarre concoction, and meditate for 3 hours whilst standing on your head. Well, I'm here to tell you that's complete nonsense. Today, we're talking about something refreshingly different, the simplest daily routine for self-improvement. Not the most complicated, not the most Instagram-worthy, but the simplest. Because here's the thing, simplicity isn't just elegant, it's sustainable. And sustainability, my friends, is where the magic happens.
Let me start with a story. Last year, I met Sarah, a brilliant marketing executive from Manchester. She tried every self-improvement trend under the sun. Morning pages, elaborate skincare routines, complex workout regimens, you name it. She had notebooks full of half-finished habit trackers and apps she downloaded but never used. Sound familiar? Sarah was exhausted, not from her demanding job, but from the constant pressure of maintaining all these elaborate routines she'd convinced herself she needed. She felt like a failure because she couldn't keep up with her own expectations. But here's the twist. Sarah wasn't failing at self-improvement. She was failing at overcomplication. This is where the beauty of simplicity comes in. The most effective daily routine for self-improvement isn't about doing everything perfectly. It's about doing a few things consistently. And I mean consistently, not for a week, not for a month, but for months and years.
So, what does the simplest daily routine actually look like? It's built on 3 pillars, each taking no more than 10 minutes of your day. That's right, we're talking about 30 minutes total. Less time than it takes to watch an episode of your favourite comedy programme.
The first pillar is what I call morning clarity. This isn't about elaborate meditation retreats or complex breathing techniques. It's simply about creating a buffer between sleep and the chaos of your day. Here's exactly what you do. Wake up 10 minutes earlier than usual. I know, you're not a morning person. Neither am I particularly, but this isn't about becoming a morning person. It's about giving yourself 10 minutes of peace before the world demands your attention. In these 10 minutes, you're going to do 3 things. First, take 5 deep breaths. Not fancy yogic breathing, just 5 intentional breaths where you actually pay attention to the air going in and out of your lungs. This simple act signals to your nervous system that you're present and ready to engage with the day ahead. Second, spend 3 minutes writing down 3 things you're grateful for. Not profound, life-changing gratitudes, just 3 ordinary things. Maybe it's your morning coffee. Maybe it's the fact that your commute isn't too terrible today. Maybe it's that your cat didn't knock anything over in the night. The key is consistency, not profundity. Finally, set one intention for the day. Not a to-do list, not a complex goal, just one simple intention. Today, I intend to be patient with myself. Today, I intend to listen more than I speak. Today, I intend to appreciate small moments. That's it. This morning clarity routine does something remarkable. It shifts you from reactive mode to responsive mode. Instead of being immediately swept up in emails, notifications, and other people's demands, you start your day from a place of centered awareness.
The second pillar is the midday reset. This is your circuit breaker for the day, preventing you from spiraling into afternoon overwhelm or emotional reactivity. Around midday, it doesn't have to be precisely noon, you're going to pause whatever you're doing for 10 minutes. This might feel impossible at first, especially if you're in a demanding job or caring for others. But here's the thing. These 10 minutes will actually save you time by preventing the afternoon crash that leads to poor decisions and wasted energy. During your midday reset, you'll do two things. First, spend 5 minutes on mindful movement. This isn't a workout, it's simply moving your body with awareness. Walk around the block, stretch at your desk, do some gentle yoga poses, or even just stand and sway for a few minutes. The goal is to reconnect with your physical self and release any tension that's accumulated. Then, spend 5 minutes checking in with yourself. Ask 3 simple questions. How am I feeling right now? What do I need in this moment? What's one thing I can do to support myself this afternoon? This isn't therapy, it's basic emotional maintenance. The midday reset prevents what I call emotional accumulation, that gradual build-up of stress, frustration, or fatigue that often leads to evening meltdowns or weekend burnout.
The third pillar is evening reflection. This is your opportunity to process the day and set yourself up for restorative sleep. Before you start winding down for bed, spend 10 minutes reflecting on your day, not judging it, not analysing every detail, just reflecting. Write down 3 things that went well today. Again, these don't need to be major achievements. Maybe you had a good conversation with a colleague. Maybe you chose a healthy lunch. Maybe you didn't lose your temper in traffic. The practice is about training your brain to notice the positive, which is crucial for long-term well-being. Next, identify one thing you learned about yourself today. This could be anything. I realized I'm more productive in the morning, or I noticed I get anxious when I'm running late, or I discovered I actually enjoy that type of music. Self-awareness is the foundation of all personal growth. Finally, set an intention for tomorrow. Not a detailed plan, just a simple intention that will guide your choices. This creates a sense of continuity and purpose between days.
Now, you might be wondering, can something this simple actually work? The research is quite compelling. Studies in behavioral psychology show that we have a limited amount of what researchers call decision fatigue each day. Every choice we make depletes this resource slightly. Complex routines with multiple decisions and elaborate steps exhaust this resource quickly, making it harder to maintain consistency. Simple routines, on the other hand, become automatic more quickly. They require less cognitive energy to maintain, which means you're more likely to stick with them even when life gets challenging. And consistency, not perfection, is what drives long-term change. Neuroscience research also supports this approach. When we repeat simple actions consistently, we strengthen neural pathways through a process called myelination. These strengthened pathways make positive behaviors more automatic and less effortful over time.
I can almost hear some of you thinking, this is too simple. Surely self-improvement requires more effort, more complexity. This is what I call the suffering bias, the mistaken belief that if something isn't difficult, it can't be effective. But consider this. The most profound changes in life often come from simple, consistent actions. Learning to read happened through simple, repeated exposure to letters and words. Becoming fluent in your native language happened through simple, consistent practice of sounds and meanings. The complex skills you have now all started with simple fundamentals. Others might be thinking, I don't have 30 minutes. But let's be honest. You probably spend more than 30 minutes a day scrolling through social media, watching television, or engaging in other activities that don't serve your growth. This isn't about finding more time. It's about redirecting time you're already spending.
The beauty of this simple framework is that it's flexible. The core structure, morning clarity, midday reset, and evening reflection remains consistent, but the specific activities can be adapted to your life. If you're a parent with young children, your morning clarity might happen in the bathroom, the only place you can guarantee 5 minutes of privacy. Your midday reset might be a few conscious breaths in the car before picking up the children from school. Your evening reflection might happen whilst they're having their bath. If you work night shifts, simply adjust the timing. The morning routine becomes your pre-work routine, the midday reset becomes your mid-shift pause, and the evening reflection becomes your post-work wind down. The key is consistency of practice, not consistency of timing.
Here's what's particularly elegant about this approach. It builds momentum naturally. As you become more consistent with these simple practices, you'll likely find yourself naturally drawn to other positive behaviors. You might start choosing healthier foods, not because you've forced yourself to diet, but because your increased self-awareness makes you more attuned to what your body actually needs. You might find yourself having better conversations, not because you've studied communication techniques, but because your regular check-ins with yourself have made you more emotionally aware and present with others. This is what I call organic expansion, growth that happens naturally as a result of foundational practices rather than forced change driven by willpower.
Remember Sarah from the beginning? She's been following this simple routine for 8 months now. She hasn't become a different person overnight, but she has become a more centered, aware, and intentional version of herself. She sleeps better, makes decisions more easily, and feels more resilient when challenges arise. Most importantly, she no longer feels like she's failing at self-improvement. She's succeeded at building a sustainable foundation for growth.
So, there you have it, the simplest daily routine for self-improvement. 30 minutes a day, 3 simple practices, enormous potential for positive change. No expensive equipment, no complicated systems, no need to overhaul your entire life. The question isn't whether this will work. The question is whether you'll give it a genuine chance. Start tomorrow. Set your alarm 10 minutes earlier, commit to the midday pause, and end your day with brief reflection. Do this for 1 week, then 1 month, then see where you are. Remember, the goal isn't perfection. Some days you'll forget the midday reset. Some evenings you'll be too tired for reflection. That's fine. The practice is in returning to the routine, not in never missing a day. Self-improvement doesn't have to be complicated to be profound. Sometimes the simplest path is the most transformative one.
Thanks for listening today. If this resonated with you, I'd love to hear about your experience with this routine. Drop a comment below, give this video a like if it was helpful, and subscribe if you'd like more practical approaches to personal growth. Until next time, be kind to yourself, and remember, small, consistent actions create extraordinary results.